Okay, good morning, everybody. I'm Mark Miller, the forum chairperson. George Bledsoe helps with the technology. We're still looking for somebody who might be a backup for technology, because in case George and I are not here, we just wouldn't have any technology. Although people here wouldn't have any issue, it's always at home that it's the issue. Next week will be adjacency theory, and the speaker will be Michael Zeidler, who is the son of Frank Zeidler. So, but it's not going to be a political speech, it's going to be a mathematical speech. So, without further ado, Connie Craig will introduce our speaker.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad you're here. Thank you for coming. I'd like to introduce Amy Mizialko. I got to know her in my very first years of teaching at MPS. She was a school teacher as well. She was special ed, and I was early childhood kindergarten teacher at Lee Elementary. And then later on, we got to reconnect when I became the BR of my building, which is a building rep at Allenfield School. And she became the president at the MTEA, which is the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. And now she's moved on up, and she is the executive director of the MTEA, Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. And further ado, here's Amy.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amy Mizialko. I came to Milwaukee in 1992 to be a special education teacher at Lee Elementary School at 9th and Meineke. One of the best things I ever did, one of the best decisions I ever made, was to come and serve the families and students of Milwaukee Public Schools. And it's very difficult for me to believe that I've been doing that for 33 years, but in fact, I have been doing that for 33 years. And so I live 3 blocks away. I've driven past your church I don't know how many times. And I'm walking into this room. Barbara introduced herself to me in the elevator. Dennis gave me his card. I know Bob and Jeannie, and so I just am very thankful to be invited here this morning. I feel like I know so many of you already, and so thank you for inviting me and allowing me to spend a little time with you. So, I wanted to talk about share a couple of things with you today about the social justice organizing work that members of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association are involved in support of our students and families. And then I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Wisconsin state budget and what the ramifications are of the budget that was signed by Tony Evers this summer. I will take questions. I'll make sure that I leave a good amount of time for questions and comments, so please have those ready for me. I'd love to take those from you. So I think we've all seen the consequences of what a Trump presidency looks like, a second Trump presidency looks like. And I think all of us knew the pain and the targeting that would occur in a second Trump presidency, especially for those on the margins. And so our students in Milwaukee Public Schools are we have 5,700 members of the MTEA, building service helpers, occupational therapists, teachers, librarians, paraprofessionals, interpreters, almost every position that you can imagine. And it is a top priority for our members to stand with our students, stand with our families in ways that are tangible and meaningful, and to meet the moment that we're in. And so I know all of you have seen other cities be descended upon by this administration and targeted, vicious attacks against students and families. But we've also seen cities rise up and meet the moment. And so I have friends in North Carolina, union friends, public school teachers, who have been standing with their community, with their students and families in walkouts for the past week, protesting and standing against ICE coming to their city, terrorizing people, taking people away, and even trying to get on school property. And so it is imperative, and it will only be a matter of time. And I suspect everybody in this room knows that. They went to Chicago, they're in St. Paul, they're in North Carolina right now, we've seen them in Portland. It is only a matter of time until Milwaukee is the target. It's coming. And so our members with students and families have been building so that we are ready to stand in the gap, to take more political action and more direct action than perhaps we've ever taken before, to stand up for this community, our city. And so the picture or the slide that I wanted to start with is a beautiful picture of Milwaukee Public School students, members of Voces de la Frontera, members of our union, in the ongoing relentless organizing that we do to make sure that every Milwaukee Public School is a sanctuary, that we keep ICE out of our communities, and that we're ready to stand up and stand in when the time comes. I'm sure you've seen videos of just a couple hours south of us in Broadview, Illinois, videos of regular people, us, regular people, standing up for and standing in against an administration that means to end people of color, and in this case, immigrants. And of course, you'll remember that this was just like, don't worry about it because it's just gonna be the worst of the worst. Just the most heinous criminals you've ever heard about. But we know that that's not true. We know that this is a blanketed mass attack to end people. And the members of MTEA are determined that when the time comes, and it will be soon, that we will have said that we have worked with our community, with Voces de la Frontera, with Comité, with Youth Empowered in the Struggle, with this church, I hope, that we're gonna be ready to stand up. And so the posters that you see students carrying say, we're humans, immigrants, students, workers, and this is one of the times that we organized to turn out to the Milwaukee Public School Board to demand that the Milwaukee Public School Administration and School Board put into place a sanctuary school resolution and to take a stand and to let everyone know that we are going to protect our students. If this upcoming week you have a few minutes, if you haven't gone onto the Milwaukee Public Schools website and looked at the Safe Haven resolution, I really invite you to do that. We worked very closely with administration, with parents, with families, with community groups, with students to get to this resolution. The MTEA is not operating alone. We're operating in a community, and it's our role to support students and families. The current president of the MTEA is Ingrid Walker-Henry, and I have the pleasure of serving the members of the MTEA as executive director. We always say that it is a good day when a Milwaukee Public Schools parent, guardian, family member calls the union. We are so grateful when an MPS parent, guardian, family member calls the union, because usually when they're calling, it's because there's something serious going on and no one's listening. No one's paying attention. And so we are honored when parents and families call us, because if something's going on that's detrimental to a group of children or a child, the MTEA wants to know about it. We want to work with that family to make sure that that family is listened to, that that family is paid attention to. And so we don't do this work from the front. We do this work alongside, and we do it together. But definitely take a look at the Safe Haven resolution and what it guarantees for our students, and that our schools and classrooms will be safe spaces for our students and their families, and frankly for immigrant workers who work in Milwaukee Public Schools. A resolution is one thing, and it means something. A resolution means nothing if we aren't prepared to act. A resolution means nothing if we're not prepared to think about acting in direct action with a collective of like-minded people, and act in ways that we might not have acted yet. We care about causes very much. We're involved and committed to social justice in our community, but we will all be called to do more. And I'm sure many of you think about this regularly, but I'm asking you, if you haven't spent time thinking about the fact that we will all be called to do more, please spend time doing that. Please make sure that you are readying yourself. Please make sure that you are readying your allies, because we cannot let students and families in Milwaukee Public Schools down. Another way that we have been working in the community, this began shortly after Trump was elected for a second term. We have 139 public schools in the city. And there's 3 tiers of busing, so they all start, there are 3 different start times in the morning, which is great for us, because we get to go interact with families, one group of families at 7 in the morning, another group at 8 in the morning, and another group at 9 in the morning. And so our members it became very important to them to figure out what to do first and what we could do right now. And what our members decided that we could do right now is that we could get involved in Know Your Rights training. And beyond doing Know Your Rights training, We wanted to take this to every single school site in the city. And we wanted to inform families of their rights. We did that in bilingual literature, of course, and in some cases, we have lots of families that drop their students off, in the car. We were going to people at the drop-off line to the car, saying, here's how you can protect yourself, here's the leaflet, here's the pamphlet, here's how you can protect yourself. And for individuals who are not directly targeted, and I'll say yet, it might not be you yet. It might not be someone you know yet. But for those folks, to get them educated and agitated and ready to act as a collective. And so this is at Rogers Street. This is one of our building reps, Ann Hilgenberg. I love Ann Hilgenberg. She is a brand new building rep. I think she's starting her second year. Connie, talked about when she was elected the union building rep at her school at Allen Field Elementary. It is wonderful to see public education workers who want better conditions for their students and better conditions for their fellow workers. And they don't come, none of us come with any special qualifications. The first time someone asked me to be a building rep, I said no, and then I said no the next week, and then the month after that, and I still said no. Because I was certain that there were so many other people far more prepared, with far more knowledge than me, that should do that job. Ann Hilgenberg has stepped up at Rogers Street School and met with students and families on the sidewalk in front of the school, again, to arm them with facts and to show our solidarity. It is very important to MTEA that the way that we conceive of solidarity, it can be so much more than it is, right? And so I'm so very proud of the members of our union. And you have to think what it means to students. Think what it means to students when they see the educators in their school doing something. They're interested, what are they doing? They're confused, they're not sure what it is. Then they find out, oh, that's what they're doing. Think what that means to a student. Whether it is a student who is currently targeted or a student who isn't currently targeted. That's solidarity. Think of what that means to a family. And even if you didn't have a face-to-face experience with an MTEA member speaking to you about how to protect yourself and fight against ICE, those stories spread, those stories are told, and it sets us up for the next level of action. If you can think of a set of stairs of escalating actions, this is at the low end of that staircase. But in some cities, educators would never dream of publicly doing this, of having their picture taken. There are some unions that would never dream of doing this, of spending resources to make sure that we go directly to parents. It's an important step. This is at Pulaski High School. This teacher is bilingual and a longtime member of the Pulaski community. He teaches math, and he was one of the first to say, I want to do this at my school. And they did it once, and then he said, I've got more teachers that want to do it with me. We want to do it again. This is at Niskira Elementary School. This is Lisa Wazak. Talking with a parent. And the woman in the pink hat is Yesenia Ruano. I don't know if any of you were following her story. She was a member of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. She was a paraprofessional. She worked at Alba Elementary School.
Some of us were there when she fielded ice that morning.
Thank you so much, because I was just going to say it wouldn't surprise me if some of you were there at the ICE office, standing with her. I was there, we might have been there on the same morning. It was a January morning and it was so cold. And the ICE office right by MSOE, you know, it's on that hill. And it's not the easiest terrain to pick it on, with the hill and then the ice and the snow, right? But we were there. And to the left here, you see Christine Newman-Ortiz, the leader of Voces de la Frontera. And so to have one of our own members targeted and terrorized, someone who works with young bilingual children every single day to help them with reading and writing and math, that was something I think our members weren't expecting to happen so quickly. But of course, this regime is acting quickly. And of course, you know, we've heard about flooding the zone and shock and awe. And the hope in that tactic is that very good people who want to fight are still left paralyzed, in shock, in despair, not knowing what they could possibly do. And so I just want to thank you for anyone who was there with Yesenia and her daughters. It mattered to her. It mattered for our community. It was another step up on the staircase of escalation in this work. I don't know if any of you are on Facebook, but Yesenia's on Facebook. And I'm sure she would love to get a friend request from people she doesn't even know who stood with her at the ICE office. There might be some of you in these pictures.
What is her status right now?
She has been forced to leave the United States with her daughters. She has been forced, she's gone. She's gone. And she had a bracelet on. They made her wear a bracelet. While she went to Alba Elementary School every day to teach, to teach little kids, and then back home to take care of her daughters. That sign says Yesenia belongs here with us. The students at Alba Elementary School lost a dedicated, committed educator who spoke Spanish. The hundreds of vacancies that we have in Milwaukee Public Schools, the hundreds of vacancies that we have. We need 150 more Yesenia Ruanos. And so Alba continued to escalate. This is the Alba Elementary staff. They conducted a march at their own school after the ICE office action to show Yesenia that they stand with her and her family and her daughters. These are the students of Alba. The sign says, "Family, no one is left behind. They shouldn't be separated." Keep Yesenia and her family together here. Stop deportation. And so with the bullhorn right in front there is Luz Hernandez, MTEA Vice President. She took a lead role in organizing with Alba Elementary. Sarah in the yellow there, Sarah Weintraub, very close friend of Yesenia, and took a lead role for sure as a union member at Alba. This is our president, Ingrid Walker-Henry. They asked if we would come and be there and show our support, and certainly Ingrid and Luz said yes, and we're honored to do that. And again, Christine Newman-Ortiz from Voces de la Frontera. And Yesenia herself. And then they marched in the neighborhood. It got great earned media attention. And students at Alba Elementary learned something they should never have to learn at this age. But they learned what it means to stand up and fight and say this is wrong, and take a position on something so simple. That immigrants have rights. They are welcome here. They are fully human. They are not criminals. They are with us. Another stair step on the staircase of escalation. In October, MTEA partnered with Comité. They are a committee of Voces de la Frontera. And they came to the MTEA office to train our members in how to be an ICE verifier. And so on October 2nd, I think there were about 25 people who got trained that evening in our basement at the MTEA. And as you see there, the training consists of informing people what the primary responsibilities are of being a verifier, what it means to confirm actual ICE presence, recording agents and reporting details back to the Voces de la Frontera office. I don't know about you, but I've seen in the past many months, I will get texts from folks, or I will see posts on social media, and it's someone saying, you know, be careful, be safe, ICE was cited here. And these are, of course, very well-meaning, good people who want to protect their neighbors, but it turns out it wasn't a verified presence, right? And so the purpose of this is, We are training up more people in the community who know how to verify, who know what actions to take, and then to directly port back to the Voces de la Frontera office so that we are dealing with credible, confirmed verification. They also learned how to respond if ICE is present, and they also took part in a Know Your Rights overview. And so that's a picture of our members who were trained in October. Has anybody seen this poster around anywhere in Milwaukee? This poster was made by John Fleissner. He is an art teacher at Hamilton High School. He is a member of our executive board. He's an amazing artist. And he created this poster saying ICE out of our schools and communities. And again, I'm going to tell you that art is a form of escalation. And many of our members were able to give a small donation of $5 or $10 to John to just pay for his materials so that we could share these posters in the community, we could hang them in our schools, we could put them in the back window of our car. And it's been very important to utilize art as a form of escalation and a form of communication. Again, the Safe Haven Resolution is a wonderful thing, and it doesn't mean anything if we aren't getting people ready to act and protect our neighbors. We will have another one of these ICE verifier trainings the first week of December. That evening, 25 of our members left trained and ready to go. The ICE verifiers never work alone. You never work alone. You always work with a partner. And so on Friday, I get an RSVP list for the sessions that we offer, and it shows how many people are signing up. And so as of Friday, we had 33 additional members signed up for this training in December. I bet you it will be closer to 50 by the time 2 weeks from now. And so we're very much looking forward to that training as well.
How many schools will that represent?
It's a good question. So the question was, like, how many schools are being covered? I don't know the answer to that. Christine Newman-Ortiz from Voces de la Frontera would know. But obviously, we're trying to cover the areas that we think are most vulnerable. But we want to spread out further than that in the city as well. It will take all of us. It will take every pocket of the community to stand up against this attack. And so this is just a slide of how to interact with an ICE worker, phrases to use, English and Spanish. And so this is just a
Read some of those like that.
yeah, of course. So the first statement is, I'm a community watch member. That's what ICE verifiers say to identify themselves in a situation. And then phrases to use with someone who is being actively detained, someone who ICE is trying to take away. And those phrases are, again, in Spanish and English, is there anyone you want me to call? You don't have to say anything to them. They don't have a court order, danger. And then la migra, which is a general phrase letting people know that ICE is here. And then at the bottom, this is also really important. These are phrases for verifiers to use internally for themselves. Because this is another step up on the staircase, right? This is more intense. And they teach verifiers to remind themselves, I'm not here alone, I'm here with my fellow volunteers, and I'm documenting all of the interactions, and I've been trained. Let me take this question and then that question. Yes?
You said that they are in teams, the identifiers, or, do they go to certain specific areas or events? Is that how, because, if they're just on the street, they're not operating as a team. So what type of events or what kind of situations are they in that their purpose and their effectiveness?
Well, so the question was, like, how does the team operate? And the team operates wherever they are, wherever they happen to be, right? So the team might be at church, or one of the team members might be at church, they might be at work, they might be in the community doing grocery shopping, and they're not always together. That wouldn't be possible. But they are trained to immediately get in touch with their team member and their lead so that we are tracking and documenting what we believe is a verification, but then running that down to confirm that. Sir, in the back?
ICE does not come into the schools, do they?
Thank you for asking that question. ICE does not come into the schools, he asked. Do they? He said they don't come into the schools, with a question mark at the end. They haven't yet. So I don't know, it's probably 4 to 6 weeks ago, ICE went to a school in Chicago public schools, and they put little children down on the ground, and they zip tied their hands behind their back. And so
They wait outside the school and for parents to be delivering kids and all that, but they don't go in yet.
So, and again, I wasn't there for this. I don't know if they actually entered the school grounds. But yes, they are targeting and waiting, and nothing is off limits for these people. So when I saw 5-year-olds get put down on the pavement with their hands zip tied behind their backs, there's no end to this. The only way it ends is for regular people to make it impossible for this to go on. I know I have a couple more questions. I'm just gonna go to the next slide. Again, this is just a group of our members in the basement being trained. I'm very excited that they're gonna be there again in 2 weeks. So yes, I can take other questions. Yes?
I was wondering, how do you distinguish like a vigilante or somebody who's an imposter from this?
So the question was, how do you determine if someone is actually an ICE agent, or if they're, working privately, or a vigilante or self-appointed? I don't know. I haven't gone through the training, but it's a very important question to ask, and you'll see videos of those questions being asked of people. Do you have a warrant signed by a judge? Is there a warrant signed by a judge? And we've seen these people, and these are men. I don't see women signing up for this work. If you haven't looked at the ICE website that our government maintains and the way that they offer jobs and employment and benefit packages, you see these people. They are covered. They mostly don't have identification. So this question of how do you know who you're dealing with is a very important question, and that's, again, part of the assault and part of the tactic that this regime is using. I know I had other questions. You had a question.
Is this training being done in other cities, or is this just Milwaukee?
The question was, is this training being done in other cities? I'm happy to tell you that it's being done in other cities. Chicago Teachers Union, the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson, the governor, Pritzker. I mean, he's a billionaire, but he did the right thing in standing up to the onslaught of this president's regime into their city. And so there are lessons for us to take from North Carolina, from Chicago, from St. Paul, from Portland. The pastor, if you haven't read much about the Broadview community in Illinois, read about them. The pastor who was shot by ICE with a rubber bullet. I don't know if you saw the pictures of the woman on her way to work. It was about 3 weeks ago. She was in her work attire. And I don't know if you saw her, but she stood in front of ICE officers to stop them on her way into work. And so what I know for sure about standing up against injustice is that you don't have to be a perfect person to do it. You don't have to be an exceedingly knowledgeable and smart person to do it. You don't necessarily have to do a training to do it, but you have to be ready and you have to be courageous and you have to answer when called. And when we do that in an organized, collective fashion, we are more likely to succeed. Yes?
What's the position of the superintendent and the school board on issues like this?
Good.
Have they come out with statements or policies or anything?
It's a very good question. The question was, what's the position of the school board and the new superintendent and administration on this issue? And so the safe haven policy has been in place for several years. The school board, we have a school board who is in support of our students, especially our immigrant students and families. But I'll tell you that the poster that I showed you that John Fleissner made, it said, "No, pass her on." There's a principal in this district who took that poster down. And that's not okay. And it did not make students, families, and workers in that school feel safe. It made them very concerned. And so I can connect with Connie after this, but I have some of those posters that I would be happy to, if there's anyone here who would like to display one in the window in your house or wherever you would like to put it, I would be happy to get some of those to you. But it's very concerning to us that we have an elementary school principal who took that poster down. Yes?
What percentage of the students in MPS are undocumented?
It's a really good question. I don't know the percentage of undocumented students in Milwaukee Public Schools. I don't know that answer. Yes?
Milwaukee Police Department collaborating with ICE or other police departments in our vicinity?
So the question was, is the Milwaukee Police Department collaborating with ICE? Thank you for that question. I don't know, but it won't surprise me if they try to. And so again, We have to be ready. We have to tell our elected officials, we have to tell our mayor what we expect of him when this moment comes. This city spends half of its budget every single year on policing people. And so you are right to ask that question. What will we demand and expect of our elected officials in this city? Brandon Johnson in Chicago he's a teacher. He's a teacher. He's a Chicago Public Schools teacher, elected mayor. And Brandon Johnson forged a path of how mayors need to respond and need to get ready. And so we, as residents of Milwaukee, have to demand the same or better of our mayor and our police department. Other questions or comments? Yes?
Question, but first, you are the new Sam Carmen, who I used to know. Is that correct?
So the question was asking if I am the new Sam Carmen. Sam Carmen is a... Right. Sam Carmen, former MTEA executive director. And I began in the role of MTEA executive director in February of 2024.
The question that I have is, your training should be part of our training as a congregation at 12:30 today, where we're going to be learning about tactics to prepare. And I see a relationship, and you and your organization should be in touch with our senior minister, Jennifer. Do you have a card?
I didn't bring my card, but no, we'll figure something out right after this session. So essentially what was being presented was that interest in what kinds of alliances and partnerships can be built around this work between the MTEA, Voces de la Frontera, Comité, and this congregation. And we are very interested in making sure that as we think about this staircase of escalation, it would be great if I just came and talked for 45 minutes, right? But it should matter. We should do something more. So I'm with you. Okay? Yeah, we will figure something out. That was my hope of what would happen at the end of this session today.
We are a very activist congregation, so our senior minister is out there and needs to know you.
Yes. Oh, I will make sure that I get to know Jennifer, your senior minister, for sure. Thank you. Yes.
Hi, my name is Stephen Sayun. I am a member of the University of Wisconsin Whitewater faculty.
Yeah.
And a member of the American Federation of Teachers Union at our university. I also am a member of the Whitewater community. We have an immigrant support coalition in Whitewater. Last year I ran I walked around, got some signatures, and ended up getting elected to city council. So I encourage people to be members. If you find any kind of city or community office that's available, run, gather the signatures and run for a lot of these unopposed positions, because that can help show support for these issues, because then you can be the agents of change, right? In that, and be a supportive position for that. So I was wondering if you happen to have any material that I may share with my community back in Whitewater.
Let's make sure that we exchange contact information. Did you say your name is Stephen?
Stephen, yeah.
So Stephen was just saying how important it is for all of us to participate in our local democracy, in our local government. And that's absolutely right. The Chicago doesn't have Brandon Johnson as a mayor by mistake. That took a great deal of organizing. And so thank you for sharing that, Stephen. And yes, I will make sure that I work with Connie to get you connected to, if it's Comité or Voces, or happy to do that. Yes?
I have a question about regarding if, where else you have been, because you're here at a church, and I'm just wondering, with recent comments by the Pope and the Association of Bishops, have you seen any outreach from those other churches, like Catholic churches?
I haven't. So the question was, has MTEA received outreach from other churches and specifically Catholic churches? We haven't yet, but we hope that this will be the beginning of being able to connect with other congregations in the city. And that is, again, like all congregations in all parts of the city, because it will take all of us to stand together. But if any of you have contacts in those congregations, please know that MTEA would, be happy to come to a gathering like this, or yes, in the night.
There are a couple faith organizations and people who manage the congregation's efforts and attitudes that you ought to be in touch with. That's a separate track, but those organizations can be very helpful because they have, again, their own advocacy and planning and resistance efforts going on, and you could run parallel in coordinating activities.
Yep. Thank you for that. Luz Hernandez, our vice president, when I go back to work tomorrow, I'm going to share with them our time together here with Ingrid and with Luz. And I think that Luz, vice president of our union, in work with Christine Numeritiz at Voces de la Frontera, in terms of scaling up and doing the coordinated across the city work that we need to do in this, your point is well taken. Yes.
My daughter teaches ESL at MTEA. They share many of the same situations you're talking about. She's a member of 212. I don't believe they've had training. She's not a member of the MTEA. Is your training open to non-members if they were interested in attending that December training you're talking about?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. So the question was, could the MTEA training in December be opened up to fellow union members in the city? I'm going to take that back to Luz and Ingrid tomorrow morning, because I think as we continue to scale up and ascend that staircase of resistance, I think that's an excellent suggestion, is what can we do with AFT 212 and other unions in the city or around the city. But I will take that up with Luz and Ingrid tomorrow. Yes, you're the last one.
I serve as the vice chair for Interfaith Conference of Greater Milwaukee. So I work with you, and I serve as the retiree president of Local 212 AFT.
Oh, you do? Wonderful.
We will visit. I will skip church for a while and visit.
Okay. Okay, that's wonderful. So I, again, just want to thank you for this time, and for being such a engaged and participatory audience. It's felt more like just a nice conversation with some good people. And so thank you again for your time, and thank you for the invitation.